Well, good morning. Larry, let's begin with a word in the title of the book. Going Clear, Scientology, Hollywood, and the Prison of Belief. Scientology devotes a lot of organizational energy to tap into the celebrity culture that is so prominent in the United States today. Talk to us about that. Talk to us about what you found and why you devoted so much attention to that aspect in the book.
Well, Scientology was really created as a religion that would use celebrities. When it was set up, it was established in Los Angeles in 1954, and there was a reason for that. L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology, realized that Americans really do worship one thing for sure, and that's celebrity. And where is the capital of celebrity? Is Hollywood. So Scientology has become one of the major landlords in Hollywood. And early on, they set out to recruit celebrities. There was a church publication put out shortly after the founding of the church with a roster of prospective celebrities, and they included people like Bob Hope, Walt Disney, Marlene Dietrich, Howard Hughes, some of the most famous people in the world. But those are the kinds of people that they sought to use as pitchmen for their new religion. And celebrities did come to the church. They built a celebrity center so that celebrities would feel at home there. And in some of the early people that came into the church were Rock Hudson passed through. Apparently he got very upset when he was in the middle of an auditing session and he needed to go put some more money in the parking meter, and they wouldn't let him out of the room. So he stormed out and never came back. Gloria Swanson, who was the sort of faded movie star of silent movies, and later people like Leonard Cohen and even Elvis Presley made a stop. He didn't stay in the church, but his widow and daughter are still prominent members. So the idea was that celebrities are useful. They become megaphones for advertising the church and its benefits. And if you look at the people that have been their spokespeople, like John Travolta and Tom Cruise, each of these guys at one time was the #1 movie star in the world. And that's a very powerful lure to young people who have gone to Hollywood and are solicited by the church to come to the Celebrity Center to see how to get an agent or how to get ahead in the business. If they look at who's in the church, they think, maybe I could be a star as well.
Okay, now let's hear you talk more specifically about Tom Cruise. He has emerged in the last 10 to 15 years as one of the essential pillars of Scientology. Yeah. To the point now where Scientology as an organization, its reputation influences Tom Cruise's reputation and vice versa. Tom's reputation, Mr. Cruise's reputation, influences and affects Scientology. Just how powerful is he in Scientology, and what roles does he play for the church?
Well, Tom Cruise has been the visible face of Scientology for decades now. And there's no more famous or influential Scientologist in the church since L. Ron Hubbard created it. From the beginning, the church wanted some exemplary figure that could stand for the church. They didn't get Bob Hope, they didn't get Walt Disney, but they did get Tom Cruise, and they really got him. He's a very devoted member of the church. And David Miscavige, the leader of the church now, says, every minute, I've forgotten what the figure was, but some 5,000 people are awakened to the idea of Scientology because of Tom Cruise. There's no way of knowing how to evaluate such a statement, but there's no question that people know about Scientology because of Tom Cruise. Now, of course, when you use a celebrity megaphone, you're tied to their behavior. And sometimes that's not always an advantage for the organization that is represented by a celebrity. But of all the celebrities in Scientology, I think no one bears a greater moral responsibility for demanding change inside the church and the abuses that are taking place at the upper level of the clergy than Tom Cruise. No one has benefited materially more than he has. Inside the church, there's a clergy that's called the Sea Organization, but they are people who have signed contracts for 1 billion years of service. They're paid $50 a week. Many of them joined as children. I mean, really as children, really young children. And their whole lives are devoted to serving this organization with unbelievably long work weeks and no money and great privation. And a number of them have done work for Tom Cruise. They built a hangar for his airplanes, a limousine. They built from, they took the body of a limousine and handcrafted everything in it. They've fixed up his houses, where they even polish his light bulbs. And he derives all of this benefit in a way that no other member does, and he's a very close friend of the leader. All the physical abuse that your paper has chronicled, and I've talked to a number of people as well who told me they've been physically beaten by the leader of the church, and a number of people who've been confined in these punishment camps. I think the church is headed for an accounting, but it's not going to happen unless people like Tom Cruise, who have the standing in the church, demand it.
You use, keeping this theme going, you use in the title the words prison of belief. So now let's get you talking about the controls that Scientology exerts over its members, both its clergy, but also its parishioners.
Well,
go ahead. Yeah.
I appreciate that you separated those two things, because there are two different, it's almost like two different churches in some ways. They're public people. They're people that go into the Church of Scientology, and the truth is, they might go in and they get something out of it, and they leave. Many of them do, and they may be followed by telephone calls and mailers for the rest of their lives, but essentially they can walk away from the church. And then there's another level of membership, which is the celebrities who are public members, but it's not as easy for them because they're often asked to be the public face of the church and to make declarations and come, for instance, to Florida and testify about drugs and drug use and so on. That they put their imprimatur on the behavior of the church, and it's not so easy to walk away. And then inside the church is this clergy that I spoke of. We don't know how many people are actually in it. When I was doing my research, at one point they told me it was 5,000, 6,000. It got up to 10,000. Have you ever gotten an estimate from the church on how many Sea Org members there are?
Yes, 6,000.
6,000, okay. So that's what they say. Well, take their word for it. Inside the Sea Org, the people that go in, often as children, they have very little education. They have no money because their resources are essentially $50 a week. They're cut off from their family unless their family are members of the church. They may not have driver's licenses or passports, and many of them are stationed in the Sea Org headquarters in this desert in Southern California, a 500-acre compound surrounded by high